Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, some very big news I want to share with you all, so make sure you watch and listen to the end. First up, we got another 2 billion in USDT minted at the Tether treasury. So we continue to see the stablecoin liquidity is piling up as the market is in a downturn. How many times have we seen this, folks? So the liquidity is building up, not just for USDT, but also USDC. And eventually it makes its way into the market and the market starts rallying. We've seen this time and time again, and we know a lot of whale investors, they use USDT. So over the past, let's say 3 to 4 days, we've had 5 billion minted by Tether. So guys, bull market's not over. Stablecoin liquidity is building up here. And we continue to see big players are buying. Blackrock has bought another 2,588 Bitcoin. This is in their ETF, of course. It's their clients' money. They now hold 750,000 Bitcoin. So they're buying, anticipating higher prices. Here's another example. You got the digital asset treasury companies buying. So Tom Lee's BitMine, they bought over $65 million in ETH just recently. So they and other digital asset treasury companies continue to accumulate Ethereum. Not only Ethereum, also Solana. So Solana treasury company DeFi Developments Holdings surpassed 2 million Solana. So this company, I interviewed the CEO. They are looking to expand internationally. And it says here they acquired, or they announced on Thursday that they acquired 196,141 Solana at an average price of just over $202. Folks, do you see what's happening here? They're not buying because we're entering a bear market and the value is going to go down. Why would you do that? No, you're going to buy because there's further upside here in this market. So these are all very bullish signs. And look at this. The Bloomberg folks are reporting that Michael Saylor's strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, meets all the criteria to be listed in the S&P 500. So you're seeing these digital asset treasury companies getting a lot of exposure, a lot of mainstream coverage, and could be added into additional indexes on the stock market, because you have the Nasdaq, you have the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, of course, and each of them serve different purposes, of course. Now we got some very interesting news being reported about Gary Gensler's phone, and it's just further confirmation that Gary Gensler is a scumbag regulator. It's what I called him for the last 4 years, and we all know what he did, and he should go hide under a rock and he should never work in government again. But Eleanor Terrett is reporting that according to a new SEC IG report, nearly a year's worth of text messages from former chair Gary Gensler were permanently lost due to a series of avoidable technology failures by the agency's Office of Information Technology. The texts included ones sent and received by the former chair on his government phone between October 18th, 2022 and September 6th, 2023. How convenient. How convenient, right? Of course, this would happen for a guy who is so involved in scumbag activities and much more. This is truly pathetic, but what can you do? And they're going to protect Gary, right? A lot of these government people, they do cover up for each other. Attorney John Deaton weighed in on this, saying, Gary Gensler is the poster child of corruption in Washington, D.C. His tenure as chair of the SEC will go down as one of the most shameful in modern history. Judges stated the SEC under Gensler lacked faithful allegiance to the law, acted arbitrary and capricious, and was sanctioned for perpetuating a fraud upon the court. Plus, let's face it, anyone who gets the gig to be Hillary Clinton's CFO likely has corruption in his DNA. Well, John went off a bit on the political tangent here, but what he said at the beginning here absolutely makes sense. And, we all witnessed it firsthand. Now, we got some very big news around Ripple and XRP. So the CME group continues to highlight that XRP is seeing huge demands, and we're talking about the XRP futures, And as I've told you guys, this is a critical component to get the spot ETF approved. It's what the SEC has wanted to see for the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. And both XRP and Solana have their CME futures set up, so I believe they're going to get approved, of course. And Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse highlighted it, saying, per the CME data, XRP futures contracts were the fastest ever, just over 3 months to hit 1 billion in open interest. So as I've been telling you guys, wait till the spot ETF rolls around. There's going to be a lot of demand. So this is a very good sign if you're an XRP holder. In addition, Ripple highlighted that the next chapter for their RLUSD stablecoin starts in Africa. They said, we're proud to bring our trusted USD-backed stablecoin to the continent with new partners, including Chipper Cash, Valor, if I'm saying that right, and Yellow Card. So this is really great, pushing the stablecoin into bigger markets and places where people want the US dollar because maybe their local currency is debased and doesn't carry much weight, right? I think that's the case for many countries in Latin America and in Africa as well. So this is really great, and you're definitely going to get a lot of adoption there if you can make it easy for these folks to, get access. Jack McDonald, who heads up Ripple's stablecoin business, he says, now exceeding a $700 million market cap, RLUSD is already powering enterprise finance, from payments to tokenization to collateral across crypto and traditional markets. As global institutional demand for RLUSD rises, Ripple is excited to work with our partners in Africa to kick off distribution on the continent, driving utility scaling globally. RLUSD is on the move. So that's really great. Folks, a great place you can invest in XRP and other crypto assets is on iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital does things very different. This is not a traditional exchange. It's an IRA that you can set up, so a self-directed IRA, and they also have a great custody solution that's very safe. So for the IRA, you get complete tax benefits. You can trade 24/7. There are no monthly fees. It's low cost, and they have 80 plus crypto assets that you can buy and sell. And of course, you get huge tax advantages because it's within an IRA. And you can roll over your existing IRA or 401k to this iTrust Capital IRA that you set up with them. The premium custody account is amazing. It's really safe. I would say it's second to self-custody. So I believe self-custody is first. And look, you could do both, right? I think you can have, and I personally do both. So you can have a hardware wallet that holds majority of your tokens. You can go the IRA route for those additional tax benefits for maybe your longer term holds that you're not planning to sell now, and gain those benefits over time. What's cool about the custody solution, it is institutional grade. So essentially they're using Fireblocks, Coinbase custody, a bank tiered level security. So it is absolutely safe. It's like going to your respective bank and custodying your assets there. And the great thing is if you try to withdraw your crypto funds, it can't happen because it can only be withdrawn via cash because of the setup. So it's a great solution, folks. Easy to use, easy to set up. And if you are new to the platform and you use my link, you go to itrustcapital.com/thinkingcrypto, you can get $100 funding bonus. So two great solutions here, guys. Great options. Again, the IRA and the premium custody account. So check out iTrust Capital. Great option. Link will be in the description. Now, folks, look at this. Wyoming stablecoin to launch on Hedera. That's the Hedera blockchain. So the FRNT stablecoin backed by the US state of Wyoming reportedly went live on 7 blockchains at its August launch, and the most recent being the Hedera blockchain. So very big news if you're an Hbar token holder. And the other blockchains that it launched on included Ethereum, Solana, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Polygon, Optimism, and Base. Here's a quote. The commission selected Hedera for its candidacy because its technical edge aligns with our commitment to security and compliance, said Anthony Apollo, Chief Executive Officer of the Wyoming Stablecoin Commission. Now, tomorrow I'll be interviewing one of the folks from Hashgraph. So they've kind of split the business a bit. It's all under the umbrella of Hedera, but Hashgraph, offers up specific solutions. So I'll bring you guys the latest updates with what's happening with Hedera and Hashgraph. So Great adoption news here for Hedera, and it's one of the tokens I hold in my portfolio, and I am bullish on it. I believe it's going to do pretty well in this bull market. It's already showing a lot of strength from a chart technical analysis standpoint. Now, speaking of stablecoins, look at this. Race for global stablecoin rails heats up with Stripe Fireblocks launches. So the race is on, folks, with the Genius Act pass. Everybody's hitting the ground running and competition is healthy. It's good for the consumer and users. So I'm really excited to see what comes out from the innovators. So on Wednesday, blockchain infrastructure provider Fireblocks announced a global stablecoin payment network focused on compliance and connectivity, while Stripe CEO Patrick Collison unveiled Tempo, a new layer one blockchain designed for stablecoin transactions. So some of these folks are launching their own stablecoins. So it's amazing. I think we're going to see an innovation boom. So Fireblocks' new stablecoin network is focused on interoperability for programmable, compliant, real-time money movement, said Rand Goldie, Fireblocks Senior Vice President of Payments and Network. According to Fireblocks, companies exploring stablecoin payments face a patchwork of banking, liquidity, and compliance partners that makes scaling difficult. The company said its new network aims to simplify stablecoin adoption by connecting firms to more than 40 pre-vetted providers across 100 countries. Stripe is also targeting corporate adoption, focusing on gaps that existing blockchains haven't addressed when it comes to integrating payment services to existing services. Here's a quote. For example, it's valuable for real-world financial applications that fees be denominated in a fiat currency that makes sense to the user, but existing blockchains denominate their fees in blockchain-specific tokens, Collison said in an X post. So folks, again, competition's heating up the race here. People are getting innovative, creating new solutions like what Stripe is doing here. And it's really good. We're going to see who the winners are as the dust settles and, folks get distribution and penetration into different markets. So very exciting. Here's another example. Stablecoin payment processor One Money secures 34 US money transmitter licenses. And it also secured a Class F digital asset business license from the Bermuda Monetary Authority. Things are heating up, folks. This is what we wanted to see. It's going to lead to more adoption of blockchains. And we often talk about network effects, and the more building that's happening on a blockchain, the more valuable it becomes. And of course, it's native tokens. That value makes its way down to the native token that is greasing the wheels of the blockchain, so to speak. Look at this. Boris Stuttgart unveils pan-European platform for tokenized assets. So the tokenization race is also on. So Boris Stuttgart Group, Europe's sixth largest exchange operator, has launched a blockchain-based settlement platform designed to handle cross-border transactions of tokenized assets across the region. According to a Thursday announcement, the platform targets banks, brokers, trading venues, and tokenization platforms. The system supports both public and private blockchains with settlement possible in central bank money or on-chain cash. Folks, do you see what's happening? They're building the on and off ramps, the rails for whether it's a private blockchain, like let's say a JP Morgan's Quorum, right? It can be plugged in there and into public blockchains. And if you're a stock exchange or a bank or a financial institution, you can plug in. All of the bridges are being built here. And this is going to lead to mass adoption of this technology. As always, we want to see which blockchains they're using, if they're building a layer two, or maybe they're creating their own blockchain, right? These are things we want to pay attention to. But they said here they are able to support existing public blockchains. So that's really, really great. So the platform called Saturion has already been tested by local banks as part of blockchain trials conducted with the European Central Bank. The group said its own exchanges will connect first with the solution already live at BX Digital, Boris Stuttgart's regulated DLT trading venue in Switzerland. Other market participants will be subject to supervisory approval. Folks, there are still people out there who think blockchains are a scam, crypto assets are a scam. They don't understand, right, what the tokens are and where they fit in the ecosystem, and that they are needed for these blockchains to actually run. And you're seeing central banks and the major banks in the world, and like I said, stock exchanges and much more building with the technology. A lot of people are missing that. They think this is still meme coins or NFTs, and it's bigger than that, right? So this is where you got to do your research. You got to be curious. You got to take the time to educate yourself. So count yourself lucky if you understand this and you recognize what's happening, because it puts you at an advantage, not just from an investment standpoint, but if you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to go work in the industry, right? And you kind of see ahead of the curve what's coming. Okay, if I know the world is heading in this direction, how could that affect the economy, jobs, and so forth? And you want to steer yourself in the right direction. So it's really good to have an idea what's happening here. This is really great. Now, final news item, new crypto hedge fund launches to bet on treasury and other public companies targeting $100 million AUM. So we've seen over the past 5 to 6 years, a lot of traditional VCs and hedge funds, they've launched subsidiaries or arms to invest specifically in crypto because they see this as the next macro trade, of course, the next technology and industry that's going to play a big role in the markets and much more in the economy and so forth. So you're seeing a lot of capital heading towards crypto. So Singapore-based Blockspace Force and Mainnet Capital have launched a new crypto hedge fund with a $100 million AUM target. The vehicle invests in crypto treasury firms and other public companies, focusing solely on equity exposure. So more capital coming in, folks. I hope you see what's happening. I know I say that a lot, but I just want to give you pause to think. Is this resonating? Are you seeing what's happening? And a lot of this news is not going to make major headlines on your mainstream news channels or papers or whatever, right? CNN, Fox, or whatever it is. You got to take the time to read through these things and to see the major players and the moves they're making. So all bullish news will all lead to higher prices, and you have to be patient because market cycles are playing out and adoption does take time. And we want to ride the cycles. I've often said I'm not just bullish on this cycle, I'm bullish on the next bull market cycle. And come the bear market, I'll be backing up the truck to buy the blood on the streets, prepare for the next bull market, and ride it up to the euphoric blow off top, just as we're very close to the euphoric blow off top, which I believe will happen in Q4. I don't be dismayed by the current price action, just a healthy retest and no invalidation of the bull market. So hang in there, folks. When in doubt, zoom out. And a great way you can support me in the podcast, if you appreciate this content, is by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. Check out the link in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything about crypto. So go to mycryptocourse.com to learn more. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.